Yes, we're recording. Since before Bernardo started talking, actually, in order for us to not screw up with the recording. As you can see, this is the GitHub project, and I've put everything in this repository. This is of course very dated because, as we know, things change. So this is for now. We are going to talk about NuGet, and why do we want to talk about NuGet? Well, we want to see what can be done right now using this tool that we have, and also one common pitfall of using many libraries. First, I'm going to show you a simple deliverable. Then, second, I'm going to show you how to make a NuGet package with content. Third, I'm going to show you what to use Octopack for. Fourth, I'm going to talk about the problems of version conflicts. Then I'm going to talk a bit about NuGet hosting. And if we have time after that, we can talk about build tools and common package managers related to the topic. So let's start with a simple deliverable. This simple deliverable is just ultra simple project where it's got one class, it's got one CS profile, and notice that I've put the NuSpec file right next to the CS profile. That's because you get some benefits while using NuGet pack on the CS profile when you have the NuSpec file next to it. Then you don't have to specify dependencies, it just simply picks up the dependencies from packages config. So you don't have to manually edit it. Sure, you might not want that behavior, then just do it, then you can just run the NuGet tool against the NuSpec file. Here we have a simple app that uses this simple deliverable, but it's nothing special here. It's what's special here is that I've added this .NuGet folder with a NuGet config file, where in order to have this private package feed. Right now this feed is public actually, but while I was developing this I used it was private in order to try out how it is to develop with private feeds, and well, it's kind of annoying, but not that annoying. And also note that I've added the build tools to this project. So I've added like a gem file and a rake file if you like rake, and I've added a grunt file if that's your poison. So it's so you have like an example of like a simple file. If you're publishing to a private feed, it's quite simple. You need to set your API key, of course, and so that you don't have to manually hard-code it into your source code if you ever want to have it public, open source. As I mentioned, in order to use this private feed, I have added it into the package, the NuGet config folder. Well, then there is any questions, by the way?
Yes, are you going to show it working? thing is that if we want to have a package that is not in the default NuGet repository,
yes,
you just add it to that .nuget or nuget.config file.
yes, and I usually add it as well to the solution, so that it, and Visual Studio usually picks up on this configuration and when you're restoring packages. So it's so it works. If you have a private feed, you need to enter your password while you do a restore of packages. But on the command line, it uses your API key. So it's actually simpler on the command line for doing for using private repositories. This is the simple deliverable, and as we can see, we have this simple deliverable installed into this using simple deliverable. Simple deliverable does not exist in another NuGet feed. It exists only here in this private feed. And in order to find this, you might have to switch to the feed that is relevant.
And how did the package get to that feed?
Well, that I can show you as well. You use either your grunt file and or your rake file, and usually I set up these things because I generally don't like to need to type so much. So when I publish NuGet packages, so usually I set up something like this in order to avoid keystrokes. And
this NuGet thing, is it free or?
NuGet for public repositories are free. For private repositories it costs a bit of money, but it's not that much money.
Is this only Autonet or?
Probably there are others, and you can set up a package feed on your own. You can set up, probably you can set it up on Azure. It's not. There are many options, but NuGet, well, it's a simple option that I know of. But there are probably other providers that can give you this service. Or if you have if you're hosting on, for instance, GitHub or Visual Studio Online, you might be able to use Travis or AppVeyor or some of the online. Actually, you can use AppVeyor in order to publish, to get either a private or public NuGet feed. And AppVeyor is available for .NET projects. So they're building for like a Windows environment, and it's CI for the cloud, or if you want to use bad words. So, and we can actually let's try to run this. Oh, this is really small. So how do I see the available commands in Grunt? Is it dot question mark? No. Whatever. We can also use. I've also set up rake for it, and okay, now it's not visible, but basically I'm writing rake pack, and it builds the package.
So So you build the solution, then it builds the package
Yes.
and publishes.
No, I have a push as well, separate task. But you could, if you wanted, have a task that does exactly that. It's just a build script, so it's up to you.
Basically, you call NuGet executable with pack command.
Yes, exactly. And the tool for rake, it's very thin wrapper. It's just to get the path of a NuGet exe that is stored on in a Ruby gem. So it's, and I think it's something similar with the grunt as well. So it's not as thin a wrapper, but it's quite easy to use.
Just one question: where do you say what is going to be inside that package?
You're like, how do you mean what's going to be inside? Do you mean like what kind of DLLs will be inside? If you're building against the CS profile, then the DLLs of your project will end up in the NuGet package. And so it's, but if you want to manually manage this, you can, in this files section, add other files that, and these can be content files, it can be DLLs, and it can be XS and whatever. But so it's
You are going to show it in the next one.
yes.
So you mean right now, whatever DLLs you have in references, it will be listing in the package, all of them?
No, the
Outputs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you combine this project output with files?
Yes. If we look at this one, this topic, it's deliverables with files, with content files, it's called in the NuGet lingo. Basically, it's if you want to deliver like a C# file or a JavaScript or CSS or whatever file, and there are some gotchas, because if you deliver files like that, it doesn't ask you to merge if you have changed anything. It just asks you, okay, do you want to replace your file, or should we ignore the new changes? So it's very limited. But it might be a way to deliver certain types of, certain kind of libraries. For instance, if you want to have as few DLLs as possible because of maybe you have a restricted environment, you want to deploy to the GAC for some reason, or you want to have a minimal installation. Maybe that's for some reason or another you want to have as few, or another excellent reason could be that you have a library that you know works with a range of packages, but you don't want people to have to struggle with NuGet in order to get it to work with this range of packages. So you just deliver the files in order for people to get the files and avoid the version conflicts.
So imagine that I have a library that has a DLL and also some front-end scripts that I should include in my web solution. I could do that. I add those JavaScript libraries there that would be in a special folder.
You could do that, but I think there is a better solution, and that's called Bower. Since Bower is more focused on delivering that kind of files, so it's got a whole ecosystem around that, and so it's probably better to use that tool for that thing. Also, you might notice that this feature will be deprecated in NuGet 3.1 for project JSON files. But
When you use the project.
yeah, so it's, and when will this happen? Well, it will probably take years before NuGet packages will be only for DLLs. Or they might change their mind, but but I think that this kind of thing is years away if it will be relevant. Any questions?
How do you configure the endpoint for the official NuGet repo in order for this simple deliverable to appear there?
If you want your deliverable to turn up on NuGet,
Like
official NuGet, then register an account on NuGet, copy your API key, set your API key for in the command prompt, and then use NuGet push the new package. So, and then as long as your package name is unique, and you have or if it's unique in the sense that you're the one who is pushing to that name first, then you will own that name.
Okay, but does it get some kind of like verified on the NuGet side, or if I say push something, vulnerable?
Well, I don't know if they verify it. I don't think so. I've seen that.
They don't verify. Probably if people complain, they might that's my guess. Remove it or something or validate, but not before anyone complains.
Okay.
Just verify.
Yeah, and
By the victims.
and if we look here at, I just uploaded this package today, and it's already got like four downloads, but probably that's just bots, because like the first thing you will see when you upload a NuGet package to the official source is that it will get like 2 downloads, and then you will start to see like real downloads, or maybe it's other bots that are slower. So it's so probably there are some guys scraping NuGet or something. I would imagine.
Or maybe it has a webhook saying, there's a new one here.
Maybe mirroring.
Yeah, there could be it. That's true. There.
So, okay, can you just show the NuGet.config, so to see how you put the extra files there?
Like,
Yeah.
here we have it. For instance, here I'm saying, okay, first I want to add the index.html, and I want it to be in content, and content is a magical folder that you will use for this type of packages. So and then in the folder content in this project, I want everything to turn up in content. Okay, that was a bad name from my point of view, but yeah. We can actually open up this the project that is using that simple website, so that you can see.
NuGet takes the content folder by convention, right?
Yes.
And then if you want to add something else, you have to specify it.
It takes the content folder in the NuGet package, not in your not in your project. It's only what you specify that will end up in the package, that will end up in the package, unless you have other deliverables.
So it always does end up in the content folder then, in the new package.
For content files,
Yeah.
and that's files that you want to end up in the projects,
Yeah.
not referenced by the project.
Yeah.
So you have three kinds of and here we have this web using web, and this site uses this site's these files from this site, and it got them these from. Okay, now there is a lot of crap, but somewhere around here is. Yeah, okay, it's packaged.
Not a DLL.
It's not a DLL, sorry about that, I got confused. So we have simple deliverable.web 3, okay, what's the version of this? It's 4, okay, what will happen if I update manage NuGet packages? And let's see if we installed. Oh, there is an upgrade. Yeah. Okay. I'm upgrading it, and it notices that I have done some changes to index.html, and now you have the option. Do you want to overwrite it or not, or do you want to keep?
You want to override. You
Yeah.
should not change library.
Yes.
Where's the merge button?
There is no merge button.
No,
That's the thing.
That's
I'm.
not your code.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not, you should not
Yeah. So this is the point.
the library of the package.
So it's.
It's from librarian.
Yeah.
It's just like everyone.
You've been messing around and going to destroy our work, okay?
That's nice.
Yeah. So this can be a bit of a gotcha when working with these kind of files.
It's a best practice. You should not touch
Yeah.
the library,
Even,
I would say.
even there is a crap there.
Yes.
Should you include those content files with in the source control if you're using like restore packages options for build service and stuff?
That I have not tried, but I don't think these files get restored while using package restore.
It does. Delete it and try it again.
Yeah, we can try that. But
It
Maybe
should
they're
be.
only added when you.
yeah, I think it's something like that because it works differently in NuGet. But if you're using Paket, the new package manager, then that uses NuGet as well. Then yes, you don't need to check these things in because then it will only be references, and these will be restored when you do a package restore.
Because the idea is not to put in your source control files that come from the libraries.
Yeah,
That's why I think if you delete it and put it back again, those files will be there.
Maybe we could try it.
yes,
Delete it from disk and then do a rebuild.
Yeah.
yes. Let's try that. Index, delete, content, delete.
Delete the folder also.
Do you have
No.
any control over what is actually being copied?
Build.
No? Okay.
This
It just
gone.
restored.
Yeah, it is restored.
Yeah, so I just refreshed the project.
Ah,
It doesn't know that the file is not there anymore. On that,
yeah,
Right-click the project and
it had it in the editor, so that's why.
yeah, but refresh it there. On the
Yeah, it's gone.
It's gone, as we can see here,
yeah.
pending delete. So yeah, so it's maybe that's why they're removing this feature, because it's not. They might want to go the way that Paket is going. They want to have the files in like the packages folder, and then you have reference to these files in your solution instead of checking them into source control. So I'm just speculating, but. And any other questions?
How do you publish next versions of the NuGet package?
You update the NuSpec. Either you can actually update the version in two ways. You can either have the version take the version from the
Assembly info.
assembly info, or you can use the version from the NuSpec file. And just update the I usually update the NuSpec file with the new version, and then rebuild and push. So that's usually what I'm.
So basically, in my solution, that NuSpec file will always have the latest, and that NuGet package that I've already published, that is the older versions. They will keep.
Yeah, and if we.
And you can always restore all the versions that you published.
Yeah, and one thing to note is that you can't delete any package from nuget.org, since people might depend on your code that might be broken. So
And they have a fix in their code?
yeah, so this package, for instance, it's unlisted because we didn't we did it a few years ago, I think, and but then found out that okay, this package it's not useful. It's just a regex. So let's delete it. Okay, we can't delete it, but so yeah, just unlist it in order for it not to show up and spam the search.
Yeah, but they can still restore.
Yes, of course. And so it's
They have the history. They keep the history. So.
yeah. And notice that notice that this version is unlisted, but the other versions are listed. So it means that this version is supposed to be okay, and this, I think I unlisted it because there was some bug or something. So I thought, okay, people shouldn't download that.
Sorry for my ignorance here, but imagine I have a small library, class library project, right?
Yeah.
So I publish version 1
Yeah.
of a NuGet package. For my lifecycle management, for example, if I'm making some changes in that
Yeah.
solution, so from a source control point of view to like end to end,
Yeah.
how do I maintain those things? I mean, is it like I create a branch every time I make change? Or how do I know if that NuGet package belongs to this version of my solution? Just tag.
Yeah. That's how they do with many other, like if you're using Ruby, then when you push, it tags in your tags and pushes that tag to your source control provider. And it would be nice to have the same functionality for .NET as well, so that when you push, it just tags. And but yeah, it's not hard to do. It's just if you know that you're using Git, then you can do take on this Git tag as a tag task as a dependency on the push. So it's if you want. Okay, these content files, they were bad, or not exactly what you might expect from how content files should work, since there is no decent merge. If you want to deliver a full website and deploy that, or you want to deliver a service and deploy that, well, how do you do that? Well, there is this tool called Octopack that packages things into what is called a NuGet file, but it's really just a zip file that has some same properties as NuGet, but it's really not a real NuGet file.
NuGet files are also zip files.
Yes, but Octopack takes everything and just shoves it into the zip file. NuGet files, they have dependencies and stuff. So if you're using Octopack to build your like libraries, you might get several gigabytes of need several gigabytes just for your libraries, because it will include everything each time you publish a new version.
So where is the scenario where Octopack should be used?
Deployment of websites, deployment of services, like these. I think these are the nice scenarios. Then you're using it together with Octopus, you're deploying it, and you're using their infrastructure to manage this thing, and then I think it's a nice tool, but it shouldn't be confused with NuGet, like regular NuGet, because they don't have any dependencies, for instance, these files. And here is a really simple solution where I'm using Octopack, and if we look at the build tool, let's see here, this is the code to package, and then basically what I'm doing is I'm adding a run Octopack to the msbuild command. So it's not a separate command, it's part of msbuild. So it includes, if we look at the CS profile, we will probably find some Octopus related stuff here, in order to be able to handle the msbuild situation. Any questions?
I see one other use
Yeah.
for this for backups. Imagine that NuGet for some reason gets discontinued. Right? And
Well,
you install your package, and if you do Octopack from time to time, you have ensured that you have everything in that package. That
for your executable or your site or whatever. So but then
You could just save the NuGet packages.
yeah, that's probably a better idea.
I've seen that this Octopack uses some msbuild, targets.
Yeah.
How is it added to the msbuild folder, or how do you install that?
It's not added to the msbuild folder.
Okay.
If you look into the project web.cspro, you see that it's actually import project from the packages folder. So it's
Okay.
and yes, you could actually do the same maneuver if you have a probably what they're doing is that they have a PowerShell script that adds this reference as a post installation. Another thing that will be discontinued in the project JSON, since PowerShell doesn't work on all platforms. And then we come to a fiddly scenario. And if you have used NuGet anything like for a while, then you will have encountered this kind of problem where you have some dependency that depends on some version of a file, and that then so for instance, if you have DLLs with where you have let's open the solution here. Basically, we have several libraries. Library 1 is the main library that many packages use. Then we have library 2 that uses an old version of library 1, and then we have library 3 that uses a new version of library 1. And then when you want to combine these two libraries,
The 2 and 3, they will have a conflict.
yes, and if you just have additions into your code, that's not a problem because .NET can figure it out. So it's as long as your API is sort of backwards compatible, then no problem. But so no breaking changes, all a-okay.
How does he figure it out?
Uses the newest one, right?
Yes, it uses the newest one. And as long as the newest one is compatible with has the same signature as the old one, then it works. So probably
Maybe if you say when you are using the old version, if you say that I can use these or better,
yeah.
right? He will allow, but if you will say that I need this version specifically,
Yeah.
maybe then it will not allow because it's not letting.
Here we have another scenario. Here we have library 1, and here in this library we have actually removed from one version to the next. We have removed some functionality, some part of the API, and we have removed this hook because it was not useful. But say that we depend on a library that uses this functionality. Will this compile? Let's try. Here we are using 2 and 3. Both use the library 1. And let's see what happens. It builds.
Because the latest version has the hook.
No. The latest version does not have the hook, because the other DLLs are already compiled. So and their API is compatible with your code. So this works. What happens when you run this? It throws up. It says, blah, runtime exception.
But this is a problem of versioning, right?
Yes.
If you removed that method, then you should have a new version being released because you broke compatibility.
Yes. So it's sometimes it can be better to split. Because of this, you might want to split some things into separate deliverables just because of this. Or you try to use packages that don't have that many dependencies in order to avoid this problem as well, because as long as they don't have that many dependencies, you only need to worry about their dependencies. Your dependencies, I meant. Okay, hosting. Like, what kind of hosting is there? I've already mentioned this, so you can use AppWare for stuff that is hosted on like GitHub or whatever. You can use NuGet, but you can also use, you have also the possibility of having a shared folder, or you could have it on your own machine. But a shared folder, it's not optimal solution. So it might be that you want to, like for instance, then you always need to be in that domain in order for it to work and stuff. It might be that you want to have instead you want to host your packages, but you don't want it to be public. Well, they've already thought about that, and they have a NuGet called NuGet Server that, when installed, gives you a lot of files, and basically it's in order to you get this solution in order to get you quick started with in order to host a NuGet package feed.
Can you mark when you push a new package? Can you mark it as being from a different branch, like pre-release, beta?
Yes, you'll. We can check, like.
So that's
Unstable.
Yeah. Let's check one that has that kind of situation. Here we have XUnit. Let's make it bigger so that we see what they're doing. XUnit, here is the latest stable, and here they have named the version something beta in order to be able to host the pre-release versions.
Is there any standard naming convention for NuGet packages?
What I would like is not to have to filter by name. I would like to filter by a switch, where I say I want to see also the previews, or I just want to.
The NuGet client has that functionality.
And the others, it does that.
I'm not sure if it's a flag or if it's the naming.
We can check.
It's a flag.
Like, I think it's this flag that.
Yeah. So when you deploy, you can say that it is a pre-release package.
Well, no, since you have the versions here in your packages config.
You can, in your NuSpec file, say that this package is not stable.
Yeah, that you can do.
And then when you publish your NuGet package, then everyone will know that this is not considered stable.
Exactly.
So I think that's important when if we want to use it internally, and we divide the project in different components that depend one another, and while we are developing, we are developing on the latest release that the guy in front just released, but we still want to keep it separate.
Actually, that's more the use case when you want to use Paket, because they have, I think they have more focus on being able to use dollar, like dollar packages, so that you get the latest packages when you install, unless you have a lock file. So it's that's more. So it's a different package manager, but it's still still using the NuGet packages. So like here we have the versioning documentation, where you can say, okay, the ranges where, what kind of range of your library can handle and stuff. But this you can read on your own, and I think they also mention this about pre-release and beta packages. So, thoughts?
Did you have any real example that you have this NuGet as a part of your CI build, so it publishes everything automatically?
Let's see here. There we have it. This package is running on AppVeyor, and this is just a fork of an existing package. But since the guy is not accepting the pull request and hasn't updated the NuGet file for a while, what I've done is that I've hosted it. Here in settings, if we go to NuGet, I have a project feed for this project, so that I can still use the package even though it's not available on the standard NuGet. Also, you can upload it to MyGet or whatever. It's
Okay.
Is this also subscription based or free?
free for open source, but subscription based if you're developing closed source. But if you're using a CI machine, then since it's all scripts, you can just add the scripts in the build, and then and make sure that you have set the API key on, so that NuGet pushes to with that API key.
Okay.
And you can push like to a set to special, either your private NuGet feed, or you can push to like NuGet.
Yeah.
But it requires that you have some CI server running.
Okay. Another question. Does it have any kind of scripting engine or something, so I can control what happens when the package is installed? Say I have, I'm a producer of jQuery,
Yeah.
and installing like a new major version of jQuery
Yeah.
requires some manipulation of files in the client version.
Yeah.
Is it possible to write that kind of script?
Yes. You have, as we mentioned, the post build command, like PowerShell NuGet. Let's see here. script. Okay, I can't find it right now, but basically you can have a post installation file as a PowerShell for your NuGet, so that does a lot of these things. So for instance, some packages like AutoMapper does some things after installation, and you see some, but
We could download the AutoMapper package and look into it.
they might have changed it so that it's
So it's a lot of power. So you just push a
Format
get
C.
package and you just send your code back
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah, I was wondering about the, like security scope for that PowerShell script.
yes, yes, of course. You should never install any NuGets that you don't trust.
You can do anything
Yeah.
that's inside the DLL when
Yeah.
you press F5. You know
Yeah.
you run as an administrator anyway, so
Yeah, because everything is released kind of in a binary format, so it's a bit tricky in that sense.
Yeah, well, you can download the NuGet package and open it up, since it's a zip file. Look into it, and if there is like any PowerShell stuff that does anything nasty, you can look at that. And also you can decompile the DLL and look if it's doing anything odd. But that's just make the case that you shouldn't just use random NuGet packages.
it's the same thing with chocolate. Can do anything to your machine. You have no idea if the binaries and the executables that you are putting in your machine, they are honest. But you use it because it's so convenient. I think it's easier to trust a NuGet package than a chocolate package.
Så du kan ladda ner paketet i sig.
Jo,
But what is nice to see in this presentation is how easy it is to deploy in NuGet whatever you want. It's really easy to deploy and push to the repository. Even private one, just that key and that's it. Just put it there. Because my idea was that it would be a little bit more complex. I don't know why, but I had that idea.
It gets even better when you use Octopus Deploy, because Octopus Deploy has an internal NuGet feed. So when you push the package to that one, you could just say that if the package name is matching a project that you have, and it just picks up, oh, you have a new version, you want to deploy it in your development environment automatically, just by pushing the new package. It just picks it up, deploys it on the servers, on the, yeah, it's super awesome.
And tests it automatically.
Not testing.
Octopus is more about deploying.
It's just deploying after testing is done in the
It would be
build.
nice if it would make the test again.
But you shouldn't push it if it fails the test. So it fails.
But our code never fails, right?
Not mine.
Or you should just skip
I have a
the
dry,
tests.
I have a dry catch.
Yeah, everywhere.
Best lines ever.
You mock everything.
Yeah. You should never test business stuff. Only board. Because then it never fails.
yeah.
Okay.
I think they have fixed it, so, or if it's in this one.
Or change.
It's
Just drag and drop to.
So what is looking at it? You had an idea of something that you'd like to do on the code.
Yeah. Should I take it now?
Yeah, while do you
Turn that off. Can we recording or?
did you finish Oskar?
yeah. So let's.
We actually started getting